Just to follow up to your what you were just talking about, the workforce development with people of disenfranchised. Right. You guys, you shared as far as different meetings or committee meetings that you're having all across the country. Not country, across the county.
Feels like we've been across the country.
How much participation are you receiving, like from within the city, from residents from the city of Cleveland and people within the inner city, during this whole process of a transition as well?
Well, because we don't ask people where they live, you don't necessarily know where they're coming from. I can tell you at the Public Engagement Committee meetings, we've had a pretty diverse group of citizens, black, white, Latino, et cetera. Some of these other forums we're just getting off the ground, so we'll know at that point. But we are reaching out to those groups to make sure that when we do have forums that those populations are well represented. The one kickoff forum that we did in February 17th at Cleveland State, where we had over a couple hundred people come, I think there was a pretty good representation of Cleveland residents, core city residents. But it's clearly something that we want to ensure that we do in terms of reaching out to those folks, and that's why we are asking for help and inviting people to sign up. And if you have any ideas about that, Joe, let me know. And I know you're well connected, so let's work on that.
I agree. We need more people to be involved. We talked very positively about 1,100, almost 1,200 county citizens involved in this. The last census we had said 1.2 million. I don't know what the next one's going to say, unfortunately. But if it's 1.2 million and we got 1,200, that's a pretty small percentage of the overall population of the county. So I would agree with that, Joe. Anything you can do to help us get folks involved.
I wonder if you've had any conversations with leadership in Summit County. I think it's the only other county that's similarly organized. And I spent a lot of time in Akron, and the conventional wisdom there is that in the early days, it was very, very unsatisfactory. It took a long time to work out the kinks, especially in the relationship between the county executive and the council. So I just wonder if we gained any enlightenment from their experience.
I haven't personally. I know our city council planning group has had some conversations with them, and I don't know if... I
think there was a forum where someone from Summit County and Allegheny County, which is Pittsburgh, were invited. And in fact, we're attempting on July 14th to have a representative from Allegheny and Summit come to speak to the council executive candidates about their experience. Also would point out Summit County did it differently than we're doing it, and Allegheny even did it more differently than we're doing it. So we're kind of a work in progress as we move through this. But we've heard some horror stories behind the scenes as well. We're going to try and ameliorate those to the extent that we can. I guess you can invite me back next spring if I'm still around, and we'll see how we did.
Thank you.
I'm Charles E. Bibb Sr. from the city of East Cleveland. I would suggest you get a county map, because where you're having your forums are not where the people are. You might not know when they had the forum in Cleveland State, a lot of people got tickets because there's no free parking down there. And like the CEO of the county in East Cleveland, we have that 40% unemployed. And we need the forum to come to us, because we can't even afford to get downtown on with the gas. But you look into that, the committee, and I'll be waiting to hear from you. Thank you.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I'd be happy to work with Mayor Norton if he would want to host a citywide forum for the city of East Cleveland. That's a no-brainer for us. There's lots of cities and lots of communities. We can't necessarily go to every single neighborhood with a huge forum. That's why we're doing the Speakers Bureau, because in some cases it's a lot more convenient. In terms of the map, we really followed the population numbers that were used to devise the 11 counties. So although the location, as an example, Tri-C Corporate College, there's not a lot of people at Corporate College, but when you look at all the cities that surround that region, because I think it's council district, is it 6, that goes from Mayfield Heights all the way down Pepper Pike, Warrensville all the way, and then swings all the way over to Brecksville. Well, if you think you're going to have one forum that's going to serve Brecksville and Mayfield Heights and everything in between, that won't work. So in that particular region, because it's so large, we had to split them up that way. But again, that doesn't mean that there aren't pockets that also are deserving of forums, and that's what we've always said, that we're doing something specifically for the Latino community in the heart of Cleveland. East Cleveland is certainly a city with challenges, and we'd be happy to come and participate.
I'll talk to the mayor. Thank you.
Yes.
Agree.
Thank you.
I've asked this question a time or two, and I'm not sure that there is an answer, but with the executive being elected, and of course the council being elected, and the staff working basically for the executive, I'm concerned with how we're going to achieve a sense of common purpose. Are there, I don't know if that's something that can be structured in or encouraged, but I'm concerned that it will be hard to come by.
I tend to agree with you on a personal level. I've had a good opportunity actually to meet with almost everyone running for executive, and a lot of the men and women that are running for the council as well. And I think when the judge asked her previous question, a point I could have made then was, the work of the county is also a little bit different. When you talk about roads, or you talk about health and human services, I don't believe that an equal distribution of resources and assets is the answer in those areas. I will tell you, I go home to Bay Village at night. And when I go to Bay Village tonight, I'm not going to see a homeless person. If I do, the cops are going to sweep him or her up and drive him downtown. The money for homeless needs to go where the homeless are. The money for the hungry needs to go where the hungry are. Children's services, a child, if they live in East Cleveland, needs money for services. If they come into care and they end up in Euclid, they need money for services. If they end up in residential treatment in Pepper Pike or in Parma, the money follows them for services. And then if they're treated and they can go home, the money should follow them back where they're at. A road should be repaired because it's the most needy repair going, not because we did two on the west side already, so the next one has to be on the east side or the south side. And I think that will be a challenge for the council folks to make sure that they're thinking that way, to make sure that the money really goes in this county where it's needed to do the most good. That will be something that I think the citizens are going to have to watch, the voters are going to have to watch. I would challenge the people, when you have your debates, when these candidates are running, to ask questions about that. How do you see this working? How do you see our dollars spent? Where do you see them going, and why? And I think that's the only way you're going to get that cohesive government, if people are asking those questions. And we will try and do in the forums some education to the extent that we can with you about some of the things those of us in the county government today know about how it works and why. But I really think the citizens who vote for the council and the executive are the ones that are going to have to hold them accountable.
Okay. I was sitting and thinking about diversity among the council members and how do we assure that, and then I thought of 9, 10, 11, we have a variety of candidates running. When I look at how the districts are arranged, it looks sort of cockamamie to me. What kind of plan is there, what kind of criteria for setting up the council districts?
I'm just going to be very honest with you. I was not a framer of the charter. I honestly don't know that. The only thing I think I've heard was it had to do with population size to some extent. And I'm not knocking it, I'm not trying to dodge your question, but the honest answer is I don't know all that went into the development. Bruce Akers, though, is here. He was a framer, I believe. So maybe Bruce, I'll give you my mic. Maybe Bruce can answer.
Very honestly, most of the shaping of those pretty much follows the state house districts. So because they're slightly different because there are 13 of those. I mean, 13 of those versus 11. We know that's going to come down because of the change in population, but it almost follows very closely in that. And we utilized for credibility, we utilized Robert Dykes, who has been used by the city ward situation, congressional districts, and house districts. So that was the background of that.